Most conversations about AI governance today focus on policies, standards, audits, and ethics. That makes sense. Those approaches emerged when humans were still the primary point of control. But as AI systems and automation mature, something important is changing. Execution is moving into systems. And when execution moves, governance has to move with it. Today, I want to explain a structural distinction that's starting to matter more and more. Downstream governance versus upstream governance. This is how most organizations think about AI governance today. Policies define intent, standards define expectations, audits and reviews evaluate outcomes. Ethics, frameworks guide responsible use. These mechanisms are familiar, necessary, and widely adopted. This model is often referred to as downstream governance. Downstream governance focuses on oversight after decisions or actions occur. It asks questions like, was this system used appropriately? Did outcomes align with policy? Who is accountable for the result? Downstream governance made sense when humans mediated execution. When people reviewed, approved, or acted before a system executed. Oversight after the fact was often sufficient. Human judgment acted as a natural control point. But execution is changing. Many systems today trigger actions automatically. They operate asynchronously. They act at machine speed, and they no longer require real-time human confirmation. This shift doesn't require malicious intent. It doesn't require bad actors. It's simply what happens when automation scales across workflows, systems, and time. At a certain point, reviewing outcomes after the fact no longer prevents the action itself. Oversight becomes reactive rather than preventative. Upstream governance addresses a different question. Not, was this action acceptable? But should this action have been possible in the first place? Upstream governance focuses on authority boundaries, permissions, and decision gating. It establishes structural constraints that operate before execution occurs. This is governance that influences what systems are allowed to do, not just how outcomes are reviewed. Upstream governance does not replace downstream oversight. Downstream governance explains, reviews, and audits. Upstream governance constrains, permits, or prevents. Together, they form a complete governance model. As automation increases, governance models that rely solely on downstream review struggle to scale. Human oversight does not increase at the same rate as automated execution. Governance that cannot influence execution is informational. Governance that can influence execution is preventative. That is the structural distinction between downstream and upstream governance. This conversation is not a critique of standards. It's not a rejection of compliance frameworks. And it's not fear-based. Existing governance remains essential. It's an acknowledgement that governance evolves alongside execution models. As systems move from assistance to action, governance has to address when and how actions are allowed to occur. This downstream versus upstream distinction is often hard to explain verbally. It requires shared language and clear framing. I've put together a short written brief that breaks this down structurally, including how organizations typically think about execution layer exposure. Thank you for taking the time to watch as AI systems continue to move from assistance into execution. Questions of governance naturally shift as well. So understanding where oversight operates and where it may need to evolve is becoming an important part of responsible system design. I appreciate your time and attention.